Building the #1 DEX you will see. May the devs and the teamwork reflect truthfully. Had to buy through the dip, hope we get to the green. XUSD helping leverage the dream. There's a Bitcoin and BNB pool now for the masses. Trade against the main assets in two-sided baskets. Our protocol is multi-chain. Can't make it go away. I kick another flow today. Stay sovereign when the soul is gray. R.I.P. McAfee. Sad to see the man leave. Feds come and stampede. Whatever. Tax me. Fiat prone to atrophy. There goes your salary. Bitcoin. Scarcity. Stock to flow. Plan B. Alternate reality. Volcanoes powering. Peer-to-peer transferring energy through galaxies. Bitcoin's remorseless in a way, but it's gorgeous the way it survives despite outside forces. Okay, now that was this week's freestyle rap.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you for joining us here. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you for sharing in this mission. And the rules are: if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. If you would like to speak, please toggle the mute button back and forth to get our attention. And if that doesn't work, just politely jump into the conversation. So we have a couple of people out this week. Before we go through the agenda, would anyone here like to introduce themselves, say your name, and say hello? Is that someone unmuting? Don't be shy. This is your moment. All right, we'll just kick it off with Aurora giving the governance and development updates.
Thanks, everyone. So, since the last community call, we launched the BNB as pool. So now you can bring your BNB over the different bridges and trade them on Sovryn. We launched it also with a liquidity mining campaign. And apart from that, we launched the XUSD lending pool. And this is bigger news because this means that now margin trading is possible against XUSD. And along with it, we are deprecating our USDT. Therefore, we built a very easy way for you to exchange your RUSDT to XUSD on the portfolio section. So you can just deposit the RUSDT on the aggregator and get XUSD without any loss. So it's a one-to-one conversion. Yeah, so please people, with the time, there will be less and less liquidity on the RUSDT pool, so it makes sense to start migrating to the XUSD pool instead. And there was a lot of discussion going on about...
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think I'd qualify them more as...
Remember to please mute yourself if you're not speaking.
Okay, so a lot of discussion was going on about staking rewards. It was kicked off by Ingamar with the revenue token proposal, which was a nice idea, but it's maybe adding a bit too much of extra complexity. So if you missed that conversation, go and check it out on the forum, and you can still give your opinion on it. But it is true that currently SOV stakers are disappointed because the staking rewards are not satisfying, especially comparing to the other liquidity mining rewards for the liquidity pool. So this is something we need to tackle. And there were voices coming loud that we should exclude the vesting contracts from the staking rewards. And I agree that this is an excellent way of getting bigger rewards to those of you who are staking voluntarily and are not forced into staking by a vesting contract. So I think this is something we should definitely go forward with. This is something which needs a bit of work, sadly, because a staking contract does not differentiate between voluntarily staked or vested stake. So it just knows someone staked, and it doesn't know what is a vesting contract and what is a user. So if we want to have this change on the staking contract, we would need to Again, guys, please mute yourself. So,
Yep. Right. Yeah, if anyone here is not muted and you're not talking, I will have to mute you. And like when I mute you, I can't you can't unmute yourself. So just be aware of that. Thank you.
So it's some development effort, so we will not have it tomorrow. We are looking into it. We are looking for the best ways to do it without adding a lot of additional complexity and without adding extra gas costs. But this is the direction we're going to move forward with. And in the end, when we're done with the development, we're going to present a SIP, which you can read. All of you can verify the changes, and then we can vote on if we want to have the change or not. Because the whole thing is going to take a while, we also proposing to pay an additional SOV reward to the stakers, which should be distributed at some time in the soon future. Until now, we still did not finalize the terms as of the numbers and the liquidity aspect, so it will most likely be liquid SOV, but even that currently is still under discussion. We only have a wide agreement on that SOV rewards should be given for the stakers to compensate for not earning as much on the staking pool as in other pools. So apart from that, staking should be quite lucrative because the Origins platform, where new projects which are launching are given part of their tokens to sovereign stakers. And we're working on other ideas as well, where I do not yet want to say anything. I do not want to just destroy the surprise. Speaking of rewards, we're also finishing the referral system. I'm currently giving it the final touches. It's on testnet, on testing. I think we can give you more updates on this than the coming week. And apart from that, one of our main focuses now is on improving our existing products, above all margin trading. It's time to finally, once and for all, solve the price confusion, which a lot of you have been reporting, and we always answered with we always giving the same answers. But there's the issue of the different prices on the system with the Oracle price and the actual AMM price, and I explained the difference already a lot of times, so I'm not going into the details here. I just would like, except someone would like to know, then please ask. What else? I would just wanted to note here that we are going to solve this price confusion by, in the future, pulling all of the price data from our contracts and not show any external pricing data for Bitcoin. We are also making the data more accessible on the interface, for example, the APY, or where your rewards come from, and generally just improving the user experience according to your feedback. But all of this improvement work is going on. We're still working on new stuff. And above all, that's still the roll-up. There's Perpetual Swaps, which is a very exciting product because it allows us to trade anything only with Bitcoin and Bitcoin-backed stablecoins. So in general, we are focusing on improving what we have and adding new products which are all around Bitcoin. I'm just going ahead here a bit and will also tell you about the amazing UI updates we had, and we'll cover that section for Sue, who's not available today. So we currently have the Babelfish and Bridge flows on testnet. This means that in future you will be able to just access the bridge via your portfolio page, which should be much easier. We are testing the original. You can now directly see your. You can now. Yeah, it's really nasty if there's always someone talking. So you can now see your RBTC balance when you are selecting your ledger. And we're also improving the reward page. And so you're going to get more information there. In general, the reward flow will be much improved. Many of you know that currently you have to withdraw your assets from the pool to withdraw the liquidity mining fees, and then afterwards just add liquidity again to the pool, which is kind of unnecessary. And in the future, you will just be able, with one single click, to claim everything from the liquidity mining pools and into your vesting contract. Then I mentioned before already that we are working on the referral system, that it's almost finished. So here the UI is currently still under construction. And we are going to extend the current program with a few more ideas. And yeah.
Can I ask a question, or should I wait until the end of the call?
Yeah, wait till Aurora's done with her updates.
Yes, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. There's a soft launch of the new website expected on Tuesday. And just to finish off the development update, I just want to introduce new developers we're having. There is Vasily, who is working on the Perpetual Swaps. Vasily, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, pleasure to be here. I'm excited to share this mission with all of you. I joined from the banks, so my experience is from banking and also computer science. I have a background in computer science and financial math, and I'm looking very much working on such a product. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Vasily. I'm glad to have you on the team. Then on the DevOps side, we are having Kurt Wagner joining the team. Kurt, do you want to quickly say hello? Are you here, Kurt? Not here. Okay. Then, last but not least, we finally found a quality assurance engineer. Jonathan Storm, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan Storm. It's really a pleasure working here. My last role here was with Coinbase, so I'm happy to bring all my experience on board as well. And I'm currently working with I'm currently on the Circle of Light, and I'm very, very impressed with everyone I'm working with. It's a pleasure working here. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. So yeah, that's basically the bi-weekly development update. Are there any questions so far?
Hey, Aurora, it's Whipper. Thanks for the update. You touched a little bit upon the XUSD RBTC margin pair. I feel like that's been a huge pain point, to be honest with you, for a trader, for someone who's actively involved in the community. I know that there are hopefully some fixes down the road. I'm just curious if there's been conversation around perhaps lowering the spread so that margin traders trade frequently will actually utilize our platform for trading, because in all honesty, right now, it doesn't seem like such a great place to trade with such a huge spread. I'm not even talking about the Oracle or price issues. That in itself has just been horrible, but I'm sure that will be fixed. But I'm more focused on the spreads. If you can talk about that, if there's any intention, if there's any possibility of maybe having two separate AMM pools, one specifically for margin trading and one specifically for swaps. Let me know what you think.
Okay, so the spreads are mostly depending on the total liquidity in the system. And well, the thing is also that the XUSD is a V1 pool, and the V1 pool has by default higher spread than the V2 pool because it's relying more on arbitraging to keep the price following the price of other venues. So it's creating bigger arbitraging opportunities as a V2 pool would. But the main problem here is just that the liquidity did not yet move from the USDT pool to the XUSD pool. So with higher liquidity and frequent arbitraging opportunities, the pricing of the XUSD pool should also become quite good and not as volatile.
But I don't understand. The AMM pool right now for XUSD RBTC is pretty liquid. Why there seems like a bigger spread on the XUSD RBTC than there was on RUSD RBTC.
Did you also compare just the base price? Because the base price might be different if it's not properly arbed. The thing is that here in a V1 pool, we do not have an external oracle price, which we are following, but the price is always being calculated by the contract, just by just through your actions. So if people are buying Bitcoin and the Bitcoin price rises, if people are selling Bitcoin and the Bitcoin price falls. So this is the only logic here. It's not following any external price. And if the prices diverges from prices you have somewhere else, then you usually have a much better price in the other direction. I think that the main big issue we're having here, which we really need to focus, is proper arbitraging. We need to make it easier also for the community to arbitrage this, because there's free money to be made. We should also take better advantage ourselves. The difficulty with arbitraging is that it's difficult to fulfill the cycle in a single operation. So because we are handling our BTC here, and if we just want to trade it on a different venue to do the trade the other way around, we would need to convert the RBTC to BTC. And therefore, we either have to use a centralized exchange where we have A, the problem with which legal entity to use, and B, horrible spreads, or use the two-way peg, which would be for big amounts the best way, but it takes 30 hours. So this is kind of making the arbitraging a bit difficult. But for someone who's just having Bitcoin and dollar at hand at all times, it would be very profitable to just hold Bitcoin and dollar on Sovryn and to hold Bitcoin and dollar on a different trading venue, on a different exchange, and then just, if you're buying Bitcoin on Sovryn, sell Bitcoin somewhere else and make an immediate profit. This is the most important thing. Apart from that, we could think about changing the AMM if we think that we still have the issue, if the price is properly arbed. Did you check, Whipper, if you're getting much more attractive prices on the other side, if you're saying you're getting a bad price on one side?
Well, to be honest, I'm mostly long, but what happened to me this week was awful. I mean, I got quoted during the crash like 28,900 something, and I got filled at 30,500, which was horrible. But I mean, listen, I don't really care. I care about the longevity of the platform. I'm just sharing my comments. I personally
Yes, of
think,
course.
right. I think if there was a way to have like maybe a specific AMM for margin trading, where maybe the spread was like closer to like, oh, I don't know, maybe $100 as opposed to $500 or $700. Like it ends up turning out to be like a 4% round trip. Like if anyone opens a position there, if you open a one BTC position and it's a $700 spread in both directions, that means you're out $1,400 regardless of the trade.
Well, usually you don't profit in both directions, but you make a profit in the direction which is undersupplied.
No, but you're doing a round trip. When you go long, you eventually have to sell to get out, right? So if there's a $700 spread, it's a $1,400 spread.
The thing is that there is not a $700 spread, but there is a price difference. $700 spread would mean that we have a $700 spread in both directions, which is not the case. what you're seeing is a price which is different than Bitcoin price you're seeing somewhere else, including our system, because we're showing Oracle prices. So this is because the price of the pool is not 100% following the price of Bitcoin traded somewhere else. And our arbitraging bots were running low on liquidity, and there is not yet sufficient arbitraging action going on in the community.
Anyways, I'm happy to discuss this more with you. I don't want to take up too much of your time and everyone else's, but I'm happy to discuss maybe by DM.
Thanks
Yeah,
a lot
thank
for feedback.
because yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, I would like to ask a question. It's Unicum. Hey there, everyone. Aurora, I wanted to ask, will there be differentiations in vesting contracts for being excluded from the staking contract? Or will all vests, for example, the team compensation vests, be also excluded from the staking rewards?
The team compensation vestings would also be excluded from the staking rewards. So team members would also need to voluntarily stake their tokens after they unlock from the vesting in order to get rewards.
Okay. It's just not really profitable for most people to wait 2 years to stake afterwards and not get any rewards in the meantime. It's just
Yeah, but that's very, very true. And the idea was also that you should be earning already with your vesting contracts, even if they are not liquid yet. This is why they were included in the first place. However, the community here also has a point that, I mean, your tokens are not all becoming liquid after 2 years, but they start becoming liquid earlier. And as they are unlocking, there should also be incentive for the team members to stake these unlocked tokens again.
Question to that kind of. I just wondering, was there an expectation that I'm sorry, I'm Bobber's. It kind of dovetails. Was there an expectation that the rewards or the amount of revenue generated to the staked token, whatever you want to call it, would be a lot higher than what they are? Has there been an expectation problem?
No, there has not really been an expectation problem. I think it's just...
Now recording.
It's not that we did have very different expectations. It's rather that for us it was clear that the revenue would just rather start accumulating as the platform grows, and in the beginning it wouldn't be that big. However, we did not yet realize that we're creating a problem for the people who are staking now very early and are then missing out on the other promotions we're having on the system, which is rather unfair, because then the people who staked in the system in the beginning, because they're here for the long run and the belief in the project and its future, that these people are having a disadvantage. So this is why we are now also planning to at least make an airdrop of SOB or something similar to voluntary stakers, and to reward voluntary stakers better in the future.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much.
Okay. Do we have any more
also,
questions?
thanks for answering me, Aurora.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Do we have any more questions before we move on to report with Slider?
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yep, one more.
Yeah, Aurora, is it? Yeah. So I was working on one of those Sovryn bounties, like the naming service one. So just a small question. You guys must be thinking of going with some kind of root zone. So I wanted to know, like, do I have to work on it? Are you guys planning on going with the ICANN root zone, or you would be preferring Handshake or any decentralized thing in the future? Do I even have to work on that?
I cannot give you an answer to that.
Okay. Slider, are you there?
I am here. Hi, everyone. So not so much of a marketing update today as a general update on my status. I am sad to report this will be my last community call. I will be stepping down from my role as adoption lead at the end of this month, but for happy reasons, as I am leaving to have a baby. So I'll be leaving you in capable hands. And in fact, over the past week or so, I've been busy onboarding my successors, who I'm sure will be pleased to introduce themselves before long. I want to thank you for being a great community. There are not many projects that enjoy the support of such an engaged group as yourselves. And it certainly helps the adoption team to have you there, sharing our content and giving us feedback. And I know you'll continue to do so for the next person or the people that come along. There are so many good things coming down the line for Sovryn, and I'm extremely excited about the direction of travel. And it's why we've been getting a Korean marketing team on board, and we have now a Chinese marketing team on board. I mean, the future is big, and that's always been the Sovryn way, of course. You go hard or you go home. So the marketing team will have somebody take over from me as I continue on my journey to have another baby. Anyway, it's been a wild ride with Sovryn, and I've enjoyed every second of it. Of course, I'll still be present in the community, and I'll be sure to join the community calls where I can and put the team on the spot with some tricky questions. So yeah, and that's my update for today. But I look forward to seeing you all online.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Right, can we get like a round of applause for all of her excellent work the past few months? Good
job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Freya. It's been great working with you, and I know I'll still see you around these calls and in the chats. So she's not gone. She's out there creating another sovereign individual. So we have to leave her to handle those responsibilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I will continue with the community report in exiled Surfer Stead. He is on vacation, which, as you can imagine, is well-deserved for the amount of work that he's put in on the wiki, on the communications, and the hackathon that is still ongoing until July 18th. We've recently solidified Covalent as a new hackathon partner with 2 bounties. One of them is for an analytics dashboard. Another one is for an RSK sovereign Web3 wallet using the Covalent API, which I think is really interesting. So I'll give some background on what Covalent actually is. So for a lot of blockchain projects that want to utilize their blockchain's data, they have to build a subgraph that sort of catalogs the data of their blockchain, and they actually have to build it themselves and manage it themselves. And it is kind of siloed out from other subgraphs from other projects. So Covalent solves that issue where if you just use their API, you can use the data from the blockchain that you're building on as well as other ones. So you can access Ethereum, I believe Phantom, BSC, and now RSK. So there's a lot of projects that are multi-chain, such as Zerion for tracking your wallet holdings, and Ethereum as well as BSC. There's CoinGecko. There's CoinMarketCap. So it's a huge step forward for especially the RSK ecosystem so that like other multi-chain projects can have access to what's happening on RSK. And it's definitely helping our dev team save time and energy. So yeah, we're really grateful for having Covalent on board with us and willing to build alongside us. They actually had a workshop about their project and about the hackathon. I think it started like a half hour before this call. But yeah, feel free to check out the Sovryn page so you can get more insight on those on their bounties that they have up. Let's see. And at the moment, we have 99 ongoing projects with 1,100 participants, still going on for about 3 more weeks. It's not too late to get involved. It's not all just coding. There are some research opportunities such as governance, how to incentivize more participation, and how to gamify the system and make it rewarding for users. So feel free to have a look. I can post the link in the general chat for those who are interested. Give me 1 second. And it is there for you to see. Okay, cool. So in terms of the Bitocracy report, John Light, are you there?
Yes. Hey, folks. So not much has happened in Bitocracy land recently, since the last community call. Mint Layer had a draft SIP that they had published about listing their Mint Layer token on the Origins platform, but they actually decided to withdraw the SIP in favor of waiting until their platform is more fully developed before coming back to list on Origins. So Exiled Surfer and it actually just created a category for them in the forum to I guess brainstorm more ways of how the Mint Layer and Sovryn communities can collaborate. So if you want to learn more about the Mint Layer project and check out the thread about the SIP they had published, that's all in the forum. One of the Sovryn contributors, Mickey, posted a draft SIP for his Sovryn Helping Hands Love and Appreciation Protocol proposal. That draft is also in the forum, so if you want to check that out, learn what Mickey's proposing, you can find that in the Bitocracy section of the forum. And yeah, that's pretty much all that's happening in the Bitocracy world at the moment, aside from the kind of ongoing discussions that Aurora mentioned earlier about staking rewards and such. One non-Bitocracy related update I'll give. So I mentioned on the last community call that I was organizing an event in Miami during the Bitcoin 2021 conference called Cross Chain Miami that Inglandia was speaking at, and along with a bunch of other people representing different projects in Bitcoin's cross-chain ecosystem. I think the event went great. I got a lot of great feedback from the attendees and the speakers. And I just want to say, thanks to Sovryn for supporting the event, and for anybody who missed it or or who is there and just wants to rewatch the presentations, all of the presentation videos have been uploaded to several different video hosting platforms. And so I think the easiest way to find those videos right now is to either just go to YouTube and look up Cross-Chain Miami, or you can go to my Twitter profile, twitter.com/Litecoin, LIGHTCOIN, and you'll be able to find a thread linking to all of the videos as my pinned tweet at the top of my Twitter profile. So yeah, those are all the updates that I have to give today.
Cool. Thank you very much, Sunlight. I think we can open this up to questions for anything that has been mentioned earlier. We have a decent chunk of time left.
Hey guys, it's David. Just a quick question. I might miss this, but do we know approximately the date of when the reward for lending XUSD will be? I think that was kind of speculatively announced, right?
Sorry, could you just repeat this question?
So I thought I read somewhere in one of the forums that there would be a reward for putting XUSD into the pool, not the swaps, but actually borrowing and lending pool. And is that still going to happen? And when do we think approximately the date is going to be for that?
Still going to happen. The smart contract code has been ready for a while. It's on testnet. We are just waiting for the front-end team to finish the new lending interface, because we would just, if you're going to start it now, there will be no way on the interface for you guys to see your rewards as they are being earned. And it's nicer to wait with the update until we can provide you with the correct interface for it as well. And this should be ready at the beginning of next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, hello, good evening. My name is Corsario. Thank you guys for all the effort you're putting into making this project real. I have a question regarding the term limits on the loans and the borrowing you can do on the platform, especially regarding the case that you have other DeFi protocols that for example, I'm not shitting anything, but for example, BZRX has fixed terms, and you can roll over your credit terms as long as you pay interest. Do you have any plans on doing that? Because as a use case, if you're gonna think long term, you should also be able to use the borrowing platform on a longer term basis if you have the Bitcoin there to back it up.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. And we do actually have it. So if you are borrowing on Sovryn, then you are having fixed interest. So if it's rolled over, the interest rate stays the same. It's just the margin trades which are having a variable rate. So when a margin position is being rolled over, it's going to be rolled over with the new interest rate. And so if you paid in the first 28 days, 10% interest, and in the meantime, the utilization rate of the pool went up, it could be that now you're paying for the next 28 days 15%. Or it might be that the utilization rate dropped and you're now paying for the next 28 days only 5%. So margin trading is variable, but if you're borrowing, then your interest rate is fixed. So at whichever interest rate you enter, you keep it as long as the position is open.
Borrowing, because in borrowing you have a term, let's say 30 days. Can this be rolled over?
Then it's being rolled over, but it's being rolled over with the same interest rate.
So you need to do a new loan, so to speak.
You're not doing a new loan. Your loan is just being extended. So what happens at rollover is that you're paying in advance the interest for the next period.
Yeah, your front interest.
It's with the same interest. So the interest rate doesn't change in case of borrowing. It's just, I think on the new interface, on the new borrowing interface, it just works. So we're working on an improved interface there too. And if I'm now not mistaken, then on this interface, you can choose a start duration as well. So you do not have to start with 30 days, but you can start with half a year as well if you already know you want to hold this loan for a long period of time. And the only thing which the loan duration specifies is for how much time in advance you need to pay the interest. Because at the time you're taking the loan, you're paying the interest for the whole duration. If you are leaving the position earlier, let's say you open a loan for 6 months and after 3 months you pay everything back, then you will get the excessive interest for the remaining 3 months refunded. So you're never paying too much, but it's just you to know this is the only thing the duration is about in case of loans. It's just telling you for how much time you're paying the interest.
I see. Thank you. So you'll see this in the new UI in the new update.
Well, definitely in the new update, you should be able to choose the duration in the beginning. And you should also be able to see the rollover date. And maybe we should just add some explanation somewhere explaining that the rate is fixed for these borrowed positions. So if the rollover happens, it will still happen with the same interest rate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Aurora, it's Whipper. Just sort of continuing on that last topic about lending. I just wondered if there could be more functionality where you could sort of choose your collateralization ratio. As it stands right now, I think the last time I looked at the lending, it's fixed at 150. Some users might feel more comfortable with a collateralization of maybe 200, 250. Just putting that as a suggestion, I'd love to see more adoption on the lending and borrowing. And with that, I know I suggested this, and I think Exiled Surfer mentioned that this was being discussed, but I really love the idea of lending and borrowing. Like maybe there could be like an SOV yield farming to incentivize people to lend and borrow more. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said before, for the lending pools, the contracts are already ready and we're just waiting for the new lending interface to push everything out at once. And then there will be liquidity mining rewards for lending. And in regards of borrowing, we're having, well, for borrowing, we're just having the regular rebates, which we are going to launch, probably also on the duration of the next print. And the trading rebates, well, there might have been a change, which we need the auditor for, and the auditor is currently quite busy. But hopefully in the next print, the rebates are refunding you half of what you're paying in borrowing fee as SOV. Now we can, of course, think about if we want to have a bigger incentive for borrowing and potentially add that as well. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Aurora.
You're welcome.
I would like to touch a bit on that revenue share token idea that I had in the forum. Shortly after posting that thread, like I did understand that like this separate token might dilute the market for SOV. So if I were to start it over, I think the idea of having a non-transferable token that could be redeemable for fees earned by the system at any point, I think is a overall better opportunity than having no non-transferable token that like you're instantly earning the fees now, which is it's not an impressive amount. So if we were to just think of it as like a point system where you're staking now, you're earning points for the first year, and the fees are you don't want to redeem it now because the fees earning for the first year, the platform's growing, the users are still adopting the platform. but let's say 5 to 10 years from now, you can still redeem the points that you earn from staking early for the fees that come later en masse. And that could be a way for rewarding the early stakers later on. I'm just wondering if that makes more sense to people.
Yeah, I appreciate this is Lord. I appreciate that suggestion. I think my concern was that are we taking the shift away from a fundamental objective of making the core value proposition of holding SOV more attractive? Because if you don't increase buy pressure, then the fundamental token of governance loses value, and that's what we're transacting in. So it isn't just the dilution of the value of SOV itself, but it takes focus away from incentivizing people to participate in the first place.
Right. So the idea of making it non-transferable means that it's not like a tradable token, and it's only like retrievable by staking the SOV token. So you can only get it through staking SOV, like a potential like rewards voucher that you can redeem at any point, that you can't trade at all. You can only get it through SOV, and you can't it can't leave your wallet. If that makes sense. That's why I think looking at it as like a point.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that, but how are you generating value? And this is probably better in a different form. But I never got from the proposal how it was how you were actually accelerating value. It's a distribution method, but the aggregation of value still hasn't been agreed. We talked about getting funds sharing in the upside, or driving marketing, or driving other people to participate. All those things add value, but that token in itself is really all about distribution and aggregation of the value. If it isn't being generated because we have a rev share in the upside of liquidity pools, or there isn't more people coming into the platform, or we're not if you're not generating more revenue, having a means of distributing it doesn't solve the core problem, in my opinion. I could be looking at it wrong.
Yeah, I see your point. Well, we're always like looking for ways to generate more revenue for the protocol, and I think that's happening anyway. And I guess it wasn't necessarily a solution for like ways to generate more users or more trading, but just a way of allowing the early stakers to sort of speculate on the value of early staking, but like through this voucher system.
The one thing I did see about it, I just I like to credit where credit is due, because of Oro's concern about the contract differentiation between vesting contracts and voluntary contracts. Could this help solve that problem? And if so, this might actually have multiple benefits. So just a thought.
Is Aurora still there?
Yes, I'm still there. I'm just not sure I understood the question completely. What solve which problem?
So the proposal was to have a non-transferable token that aggregated benefits from staking of SOV. And one of the challenges that we have is differentiating between voluntary and involuntary staking, right? At the contract level, would the distribution of value via this token exclusively coming from certain types of staking positions, would that be easier than recoding, the contract to differentiate between voluntary and involuntary staking? I don't know, right?
It might be. I now understand your question good. It would probably be simpler to do it that way, but I'm not sure it would have the same efficiency, because it would mean that still a big bunch of all of the rewards, of all of the reward tokens would go to the vesting contracts then. And I think that changing, reducing the number of wallets basically which are receiving the rewards is much more effective than creating a token which gives you access to a revenue at a later state, which is highly speculative because you will not know how much it will be worth by then, because you do not know how much will be distributed until then. When will it start accumulating? At what point will I start to be able to claim the rewards? So it's, I think while it might be easier to implement now, I think that it comes with so much more complexity at a later stage that it's rather worth changing the staking contract.
Okay, no, I appreciate the clarity, and in that regard, yeah, I'm still going to go for my position would still be, let's look at rewards directly and see if we can make that more tangible in the near term.
Cool. Thanks a lot for the questions. Do we have any more final questions while we still have time? Did anyone show up to the Twitter Spaces event last week? Because I actually enjoyed that, and I was wondering if the people who attended that event would who would welcome a transition from a Discord chat to a Twitter Spaces. I'm just throwing that out there.
In Galandia, so yeah, I was there. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was really awesome. But my personal opinion, this is just my opinion from being part of many, many groups. I love Discord for community calls. I think it's a great place to host them. It also attracts new users to come join our Discord and stick around, as opposed to like if you're just on Twitter, people would just join on Twitter or whatnot. Plus, it's nice. Like it's like a nice tight community thing here, but that's just my personal opinion. But like, I think Dave did a great job, and I really, really enjoyed the AMA. So, and I would recommend if there's another one for everyone to come out and join. But that's just my personal opinion. I don't know. Maybe others disagree.
I have to share that opinion as well. I'm a newbie too, and I went to both, and I think having Discord's important though.
Yeah, I mean, this is David. I'm the one that hosted the AMA. I loved it. I thought it was a ton of fun, especially as we kind of went off on a tangent at the very end there. But even I agree. I mean, I think the Discord is 100% necessary, but it would be fun just to kind of in the off weeks when the Discord is not happening is to keep hosting those AMAs. I think it's a different venue to pull in questions. That's kind of my opinion on it.
The other thing, Ingalandia, sorry if I could just jump in, is that the problem with the AMAs on Twitter is that people don't have the option just to speak. They have to request to speak, and people can't really join in so freely. I feel like here in the Sovryn community, like everyone is open to like hearing everyone talk, and there's not like this whole like request to speak thing. So that's something to consider as well.
Yeah, I think we're kind of leaning towards the request to speak format just because we always get a lot of interruptions, and I feel bad for the speakers who get interrupted by background noise from people who accidentally unmute and there's a baby crying or something in the middle of a tech update. So that's what has us considering different channels. We might explore the staging feature with Discord. I've been like really bad about like learning how it works.
Yeah, that's how others do it too. They do have like stage feature as well within Discord, so that's always an option too.
Cool. All right. Well, if there are no further questions.
Excuse me. Is my mic working?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hey, Sovryn team. Just been lurking for a while. I have 2 quick questions for you. How long can we expect yield farm rewards to continue for? And is there a targeted or expected APY in the longer term?
So the liquidity mine rewards are here to stay. This does not mean that they will stay with the current settings. So I'm quite sure that the rewards are going to decrease over time. But in general, we're going to, like currently there's no plan to turn off the liquidity mining campaign. Regarding your API question on the longer term, I cannot give you an answer to this question yet, because there are not yet the decisions around how exactly the liquidity mining program will be adjusted in the future.
Background noise happening, but did you manage to hear that, sir?
Yeah, I did. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to know I can leave my liquidity working away on Sovryn. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's worth saying we are exploring ways, like other alternate ways to earn passively on Sovryn, in a single asset sort of vault strategy way. We are working on that with the Bitcoin backed stablecoin. I am also talking with another prominent Bitcoin focused DAO on creating a cross-chain liquidity strategy, which I think would be really exciting. Once we figure out the complexity of how that would work, but I did map something out and we're looking into it.
Very cool. Sounds great. I will be looking forward to any material published.
Okay, any more questions before I wrap up? Okay, so feel free to hang out here, but I will be closing and thanking you all for joining in on this. Your support makes all the hard work worthwhile. Who we are as a collective, carving out a trail for financial freedom, dismantling what people know and understand about money, help us spread the word and create more sovereign individuals. So the call is officially over. Thanks everyone. Thanks Aurora. Thanks everyone who gave the updates. Feel free to hang out though. I'll be here for a couple more minutes if a question pops into your head. Otherwise, stay sovereign, everyone.